What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into Heated Shenanigans Podcast, Superstar Spotlight Edition. This is the second installment, and I thought we would continue on the theme of twos by bringing in a tag team for the second episode, but not just any tag team, guys. These are the sons, Terrence and Terrell, twins of the legendary Devon Dudley, one half of the greatest tag teams of all time. Super excited to have you guys join us. How's everybody doing?
Good. Thank you for having us, man. I appreciate you for bringing us on.
Doing great. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Well, guys, let's get right into it here, shall we? With you guys both being in professional wrestling, your father being one of the most decorated men in professional wrestling, when it came time to decide to get into the business, was this something that you both wanted, or was this one person wanted it and the other came along later?
I think it was an easy yes for both of us because we wrestled each other, we wrestled other people, we played sports together. We both had the same passion for it. We both loved it. So when the time came to decide what we wanted to do, it was like we said yes at the same time, pretty much. Like twin telepathy. Like we already knew that we had a passion for it.
It was
So
an easy decision. Yeah, I mean, I always say it's because a lot of it has to do with the era of wrestling that we're in, or that we were in. Like we grew up in the Attitude Era, so it was almost like the hottest time for wrestling. So it'd be very hard not to get into it at that age. I think everybody was into it, and that's when the ratings were at its highest.
and not to mention our dad was a tag team, so we watched them as a tag team double team people. So that's what we did. So it just made sense that we would do things and work together.
I did want to ask, with you guys being collectively known as TNT for your tag team name, was there ever any discussion of you guys carrying on the Dudley's last name in wrestling, or was that something that Bubba and your dad were kind of like, let's wait on that?
It was
That would be
never really
cool.
discussed because it wasn't needed until like I know like with AEW we were doing like matches for them and they were saying we were saying that they were saying that you can't do that because of
Copyright.
the channel TNT, and then with WWE when we would do like matches or tryouts or whatever, they would just put us as Hughes, but nobody ever said like our dad and Bubba never really cared. It was more of just what can we do at the time and who we're working with, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, that would be cool if we could. I mean, I would think that'd be cool, but I think that there's a copyright thing with that. There's a legal issue because WWE owns the Dudley name. So at one point when the Dudleys went to TNA, they couldn't use Dudley. So if they can't use it, we can't use it either.
Yeah. Also, it's interesting too because if you notice, look at all the second generation wrestlers now. Braun Breaker doesn't use Steiner. Um, Ariana Grace doesn't use Santina Morella's daughter. Lexis King, Brian Pillman's son doesn't use Pillman. Who else? There's Ball Buchanan's son. He used Brooks, right? And so like all the second generation wrestlers now, it's almost like none of them are keeping it. So.
Solo,
Solo
Sokoa.
Sokoa doesn't do no I mean he doesn't do Fatu or anything like that. He does Solo Sokoa. So it's kind of obvious now that they don't want you doing that, at least in WWE. And so that seems like something that we've noted, you know.
Well, and you guys are both your own individuals, and you're going to carve out your own legacy. And it would be nice to see you guys do it under maybe a different set of name. And you can always reference the past, your father and all of his great work. But yeah, you've made an excellent point there. Not a lot of the second generation talent is going to that well of using their parents' name in the business. I did want to ask, like with twins for tag teams, like it's a unique thing. Like you don't see it very often. The Usos are up there. The Bellas were twins, or are twins. They didn't switch. But with you guys, do you think that the fact that the Usos being in WWE as twins, would that at all maybe make it not stop you, but make it more difficult to get on WWE since that role is kind of already filled?
I don't know. Only I think I would know because nobody. I don't think they would never tell us that. I don't think you know. So I don't know. I would guess that would hinder, but at the same time, if I think they do what's best for business, and if we're best for business, I think they'll overlook that. But I think that when we do tryouts and stuff, they do always tell us we already have someone filling this role, so don't try to be that. We already have someone filling this role, so don't be that. So it's kind of obvious that if they already have second generation twins, maybe just maybe that might have something to do with it.
I think it could be a good thing. It could be like if we're different, then that's one thing because there's Samoans. There's a lot of different Samoans there that are always going to be there. But when there are also Samoans that are twins that are also doing the 3D because they did the 3D too, then yeah, there's too much. We would have to go a complete. I think yeah, it would probably hinder. But I mean, they're split now and they're not doing that, so it's a little bit of a different situation.
I mean, again, WWE isn't the only professional wrestling company. Do you guys have a preference, or is it really who's going to give you the opportunity is who you would like to work for, be it a TNA, AEW, New Japan, or WWE?
Really just the opportunity. I think that we've done like we when we were 18, 19, we really wanted to rush and get signed. But that's every 18, 19 year old that wants to do that. And when they gave us the opportunity, we weren't going to not take it. But our dad always gave us advice and said that's not a good thing because a lot of these guys get signed right away. When they get signed, they're not ready and then they get pushed out. And me and my brother have kind of noticed that. We've noticed that that's happened to a lot of people. There's been I mean, Randy Orton's a great example that didn't happen to him. He got right in and he went right to top. But I mean, as far as I'm really happy with what we're doing in terms of right now. We're really like working on our craft and stuff. People don't realize this too. Is our dad got signed at 27, 28. Bubba got signed at 28, going into being 29. Me and my brother are 29. So, although we've been working at it for a while, if we were to get signed to WWE today, we would be getting signed the exact same time our dad and Bubba got signed. So we've actually had the opportunity to kind of really work on our craft, and we've been in contact with WWE, and they've been saying keep doing it, keep getting the reps, and that's what we're doing. We've been traveling, get training, and doing indies every week.
Yeah, I think the opportunity, wherever you're going to have fun, because you could work somewhere where you think you want to work, and then you might have more fun somewhere else. So you just never know. But I've been having a lot of fun now. I mean, we've been in Mexico, Puerto Rico, we've been up and down the Carolinas, in Europe, and so I got to say, the grind. There is a lot of fun in professional wrestling everywhere. So, yeah, I think there's always goals, but you just never know where that journey is going to take you.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, what would you say? What style do you think would you best compare your guys' ring work to as a tag team?
So I think we kind of went more of the brawler style, a little bit more rough. I think that we've tried to differentiate ourselves from each other. So I've been doing a little bit more aerial, high flying dives, hurricanranas, splashes, things like that. So we kind of have changed and I think evolved a little bit more. But I would say more kind of like I mean the Dudleys in the sense that we're not super technical, but we're brawlers. I would say at the most.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
If I
changing
think,
for sure. It's changing. We're starting to obviously see. We were trained by the Dudleys, which was very like on the ground, keep your feet on the ground type style, and obviously that's not really the way the wrestling business is going. You kind of, I mean, look at Jacob Fatu. He leaves the ground. He's a bigger guy, and he's impressing people. And so we're definitely changing that. I mean, more Terrell is doing more of the like the hurricanranas and the dives and stuff like that. But we're definitely trying to change that and expand definitely more. But we also have a technical background. We did amateur wrestling, so we can try to do a little bit of all of it. Do some brawl style, do some technical style, and then try to work on our aerial stuff and get a little more expanding with that.
The one thing I would like to point out and compliment you both on is your ability to adapt to who you're in the ring with, because it seems from what I've watched, it doesn't matter who you're working, you're able to adjust your styles and complement the other person that you're in the ring with, which I think speaks volumes to the talent that you both possess.
yeah, I like getting in the ring with different people. Like if we're in the ring with big guys, it's like just go two guys just going at it, And then sometimes we'll get in the ring with smaller guys, and sometimes I feel like those opposites work good because then you got people flying around you, and you just your opposite styles kind of complement each other.
I think it makes for an exciting match for different styles to clash and similar styles to clash. Yeah, I love working with different styles for sure.
Now, you guys have been in the business for a good amount of time, and again, we've touched on you guys have traveled all over the world. What would you say is one lesson that you've already learned in professional wrestling that you didn't expect to learn, and how did it change your guys' careers afterwards?
As far as I didn't expect, I would say not so much I didn't expect, but I didn't know until I did it. Matt Bloom, who's the head coach at the Performance Center over at WWE, one of the things that he always said was he really enjoys their work, but you can always get better with reps. And he would always
I
say
was
that
gonna say that. Yeah.
from all that's one of the things that I think they kind of hone in at the performance center is the reps, and that's why they're at the PC working with them. So he was the one that really encouraged us to branch off and just try. I mean, I don't care if it's small bookings, big bookings, whatever work you can get. If you're in a position where it's a smaller booking and you can lead and teach, you're still learning how to teach. If you can work with a vet, then you're learning from the vet. So whatever situation, the more, just like in anything in life, if you have a job, if you're there every day, you're getting better. So it's not something that I don't know if I would say I was surprised, but when I started doing it, I realized, yeah, he's right. Every day I learn, every day I'm in the ring, I learn something new. So that was probably the best advice I think that I've gotten that I didn't expect until I was in that position.
I was gonna say that too. I was actually gonna say that because I remember doing WWE tryouts, and I remember them saying, "You guys just got to get the reps in." And I remember seeing athletes come in and get signed, and they weren't getting the reps in. They didn't know how to do a head. They didn't know how to do a headlock. They didn't do a short tackle, and some of them are in different they have different journeys, and so like they looked at us as like, you understand the business and you guys just needed the reps. And then once we started doing more reps, it almost became to a point where we're doing more and more reps. We're battling different circumstances. We're in a show where they're really good and we can work with them, and then we're working on a show where they're not very good and we're learning how to lead, or maybe things go wrong in the back. How do you handle that situation? Like the more reps, the more you understand how to deal with different situations. And so I definitely not that I didn't believe it, but I was just like, oh, they keep saying the rep thing. And now I'm like, it's reps. When you're in the business and you're wrestling and you're trying to get better, you work on every show you can, you go everywhere you can, you just get the reps. And then by the time you get so many reps, you'll get to a point where you're good enough to where you can really handle any situation.
And that's also too, like when you watch tape from like some of these rivalries, some of the best rivalries in WWE, a lot of these guys went on the house shows and they worked in front of like non-televised, and that's how they got that practice. And then when they were able to work with each other on not, I mean, I guess in a sense like what we do in indies is non-televised, in places or positions where it's okay to mess up. You're not on TV. So that's where you can experiment, and that's when you can play with things. That's when you can kind of learn how to do. And then when you get to TV, that's when you're like, okay, I've already done those things, and we've learned from that. Let's put the final product on television or a pay per view. Yeah, there was a situation where we were in gorilla position, but we were just going as extras, me and my brother. But it was SmackDown, and I remember in gorilla position, I think it was like one of the Usos, Sheamus, Jeff Hardy, and who else? Somebody else. Matt Riddle, I think. Yeah. Matt Riddle. It was like a four-way. And I remember Vince McMahon was in the back, and all these agents were in the back, and they switched everything up on them, like 10 minutes before. Like 10 minutes before, and I was just an extra, just sitting there. And I remember like everybody just panicking, but the wrestlers like Sheamus and Uso and them, they were kind of like they were just kind of quick on it. But you don't get that quick when somebody like Vince McMahon or somebody like that switches it up on you. In Gorilla, you don't get that quick unless you have the reps. You know what I mean? So that kind of seeing that stuff.
Fair, fair. I mean, I'm loving this. I think this is great. I mean, you guys are so good in the ring, and just looking at the work that you guys had sent me when we had talked about coming in for House of Heat, um, absolutely outstanding. And what would you say between the two of you, or maybe individually, are some attributes that you bring to an independent show or a major company that others don't? What is it that sets you guys apart?
Um, I would say, I mean, every indie's different. So obviously, if you go to a GCW, or it's more of a learning experience. Obviously, if you work with someone who's a vet, if you work with, every independent's a different situation. But I found that in the independent shows that we've been in, a lot of times there are a lot of guys who are just starting out because we've been around since we were teenagers. Like our dad had opened the school up, and we were learning, so we do get to help help teach other guys that are not have not been in the business as long, as far as learning how to work with the crowd. Some people don't know how to interact with the crowd or to call audibles in situations like that. So I think it's just not really so much us, but some of the people we've learned and were taught from. That other people don't get the opportunity, because I go to a lot of independent shows, and it's hard to find a school out there to get taught by somebody who's good, like a Booker T or a Funaki or a Lance Storm. You know what I mean? There's a lot of schools out there, but it's not in every city. It's not accessible. So with our dad being able to send us to the performance center, with him and Bubba teaching us, and Dreamer and Billy Gunn and guys like that giving us advice in the back, I think just us being able to soak some of that in that other guys don't, and being able to utilize that, I think has helped.
Maybe some of the stuff would be, and this another thing comes with reps. Um, you have guys that like for example, they'll try to do this big technical match because they are, they think they're William Regal or something, right? And so like they'll do that match everywhere they go, but like instead of reading the crowd, maybe this ain't the type of place to do that, right? So like as far as like what we would do different is me and my brother have tried to read where we're at, like, okay, this seems this kind of setting, this is what we should probably do. Maybe we don't have to work as hard because we're here. Or maybe we should do, like, if me and my brother were to go to, we've never done GCW, but like we wouldn't do like a really technical match at GCW, or I mean, maybe we would to piss them off. I don't know, but we would read the crowd and we would read where we're at versus maybe some other indie guys are going to just do what they do without even trying to evaluate the situation. So that might be something we do different is we'll try to evaluate where we're at and what we'll do based off that.
When it comes to the business, what do you guys ultimately want your legacy to be when this is all said and done, and you guys have accomplished everything you've set out to be? What is it you want the fans to remember you guys for?
Well, I think like I guess the political answer would be like you love the business or whatever, But I think the true answer is we want to be one of the best. We want to be able to sell out a WrestleMania, a Madison Square Garden. We want to be able to be put in the top names with the top tag teams. Selfishly, we want to make money like that. Those are our goals. Like, and I know it's not, oh, I just love wrestling and I want to do it for the business. But honestly, I mean, we got into it because we watch those who are some of the best, and we want to be the best. We want to make money. So I think it's just the goals of those who have come before us, and being able to surpass that, and have a legacy of our own.
Yeah. I know like for just looking at the Dudleys, looking at our dad, for example, they I think their goal was to try to be the most decorated tag team, which they've done. They've won titles in every company. I don't know if we'll probably win titles in every company. I think the goal for me is to one, do what I love doing, make as much money as you can. Go to WrestleMania, Madison Square Garden, WWE. That's the goal. That's the goal is to have a successful career and you know get good enough to where people recognize our talent.
I mean, honestly, I mean, all they got to do is watch one match, guys. Like, you guys are incredibly gifted at what you do. Everybody that helped train you, I mean, you guys listen well. You guys go out there, perform. Last question here before we go and wrap it up. Which do you guys prefer to work as better, heels or babyface?
I think we've
I
been
don't
having
lo-
more fun heels as of lately. Pissing the crowd off, man. It's fun. We did a show in North Carolina, and it was in a baseball field, and there was a net that was like separating us, and they tried to rip through the net. and we were talking. It was probably one of the funnest things that I think I've been a part of. Like hostile, and the louder the crowd is, the faster you run, the harder you hit, the higher you jump. The harder you boo, the more I'm going to try to piss you off. I think that it's hilarious. I think we're really having fun with that.
I enjoy being baby, but I really enjoy when we go to certain towns. Like he said, if you go to like one of the New York City towns or the North Carolina towns or somewhere in the South or
Or the
some of those
redneck
towns that really
towns.
they get involved in it because like they don't really get entertainment that well. Not that they don't get entertainment that much, but like when it comes, they get into it, and they really, really boost. So when we go to like a town like that and they're really into it, I enjoy being heel. And then of course sometimes we'll do stuff with our dad and we'll be babyface, and I'll have a lot of fun doing that because like people get you can feel the emotion, like the father son type thing. Like those things are cool, but I definitely enjoy the heel stuff too.
Well, guys, as we wrap up here, do you guys have any upcoming appearances or anything you guys have coming up signing wise that you'd like to get promoted?
Uh,
Um, Next week we have Coastal Wrestling Federation. It's over in Pensacola, Florida. So that's a cool show. My younger brother is breaking in the business. He's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
22 years old. This might be his debut. So we went to the promoter and kind of nudged him a little bit and said, "We got another Dudley in the family. Would you allow him to work the show?" So Devon may come just to watch his first show. So that's going to be a fun show. So anybody in Pensacola, that should be a good show to watch. You'll have 3 Dudleys, maybe 4 Dudleys on the card.
Terrence, you got anything you want to add in here?
No, that's it. We got a couple events coming up. I'm pretty excited for this next one because I'll get to be working with my brother. It'll be his first match. We'll be in Pensacola, Florida, and that's it.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Heated Shenanigans Podcast. I want to thank both Terrence and Terrell, collectively known as TNT, second generation stars, for their time. And again, guys, make sure if you're a promoter watching, listening to this, check them out, bring them in, help evaluate, help lift up your tag team division. And guys, for everybody here at Heated Shenanigans Podcast, we will see you guys on the next episode. Everybody out there, take care.